Well, it's back. After a really, really rough start, it looks like episode 4's ratings numbers are climbing. And we're going to get into why in just a moment and look at the media kind of gloating about this. They've definitely owned you, chuds. But it's not exactly the win they think it is, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. My name's John Delarose. I'm a #1 best-selling author, award-winning comic creator, and this is my Stars Entwined trilogy on Amazon. If you're looking for a nice read that's some good science fiction without the weird woke stuff, check this out. Support our channel. We have ebook, print, and audio available for your convenience, and I appreciate you guys for being there. You've been a huge audience so far. And this series is only going to get stronger as I build my new spin-off, which I'm working on right now. That link's in the description below, along with everything else in the channel. And make sure to join us, hit the like and subscribe, as I said, because I appreciate you guys being here. And let's get into Doctor Who. Okay, ever since Ncuti Gatwa joined the show, it's been ratings train wreck after ratings train wreck. And in fact, it was happening before when David Tennant came. It started with the lowest rated David Tennant episodes ever. And then it went down to the lowest rated special ever. Then it did the lowest rated premiere for a Doctor ever, down to the lowest rated episodes ever. And and now we have a bounce back. It's pretty interesting. Now, of course, when they went through this, it's prefaced when Russell T Davies returned to the show. He promised that this was going to be some sort of woke train wreck. He said that he was going to insert politics at every turn. He talked about abortion. He talked about especially the homosexual lifestyles. That was really what he wanted to present this show as, rather than actually being a science fiction show. And like most lazy writers these days, he didn't want to actually present science fiction at all. He said the series is going to take a turn to fantasy to capture some of that Harry Potter goodness, right? 20 years too late on that, bro. And the first episode, of course, was the Christmas special. And it was a weird goblin ship thing, which was nonsensical and creepy. Had a bunch of virtue signaling towards the globalist elite with these goblins literally eating babies. I was like, wow, that's how do we go out there and say we're Illuminati and screw you fans, all in one deal. But they did, and the entire show's just been a giant virtue signal. If you looked at the beginning with the David Tennant specials, they have the transgender Rose, just to shove it in your face that, like, we're not going to bring back the Rose you love. It's going to be a dude in a dress now. Then they made Isaac Newton a actual historical figure into an Indian dude, which made no sense. And they just did that. He didn't even have anything to do with the episode. The episode was on a spaceship with Donna Noble, and they just stopped off in time real quick and just looked at him for 30 seconds just to be like, hey, by the way, we're gonna race swap everything for you, and so it's been a train wreck since this whole shebang happened. Now, every single episode, Gatwa's been out there going, lesbians are beautiful, in an obnoxious manner. It's been a line that they just repeat, and it's like, why? Why are you doing that? And this episode didn't have that. And it was pretty obvious that it wasn't going to have that from the get-go, and that's why I think it actually had a ratings success here. So I did a review of 73 Yards, and it was the most watchable episode to date. And they advertised it pretty much as such. They said it was going to be a horror-based episode, which gets everybody kind of amped up because everybody loves the Weeping Angels, and they kind of view the horror elements of Doctor Who that were done over the last several years as some of the better episodes of it. And then it was also let known that Gatwa really was not going to be in it very much, that it was really going to focus on Millie Gibson as Ruby, and she finally had a pretty good performance. I mean, the first couple of episodes with her, all she does is run around and kind of giggle at Gatwa's bad jokes, and she was obnoxious. But now that they actually gave her a little bit of a lead, she actually, did pretty well with it. Without him and his influence there, she appears to be somebody who's not entirely hateable, which is great. So naturally, she's leaving the show early in the next season. So she's going to be replaced by a minority quickly, because that's another virtue signal they want to do. But the one good thing they have, they're going to get rid of, and that's exactly the new Doctor Who in a nutshell. What they're doing here. So Cosmic Book News reported on this, and they talked about the ratings and how everything's been the lowest ever. Now, keep in mind, these are still really low ratings for Doctor Who. I mean, this they caught right back up to the first episode with 2.6 million. So they got all their viewers they lost back from the Maestro episode, which everybody hated, and then down to the Stephen Moffat episode, which was absolutely boring. They lost so many viewers in those moments, and they've come back now to hit those episode 1's numbers. They're not surpassing it. So all the audience that tuned out over Jodie Whittaker and the female Doctor, all the audience that tuned out between the Christmas special and now are not coming back to the show. They said, you know what, this is way more than I saw it with the Christmas special. That's all I needed. That's it. But they did get the audience that is already left for the woke Doctor back on this. And I really do think it's just because it was a totally Ruby-centric episode. Gatwa wasn't in it. He was advertised as not being in it. And it was a much more serious-toned episode. And even though, I'll guess I'll spoil my review a little, the ending really didn't stick. And it ended up being kind of a pointless episode. You can look at why in my full review. It just was the least annoying episode of the lot so far. It was way, way better without him there than with him there. And so while the media is out there kind of celebrating, and if you look at kind of what they're saying here, 73 yards, different deal. Overnight ratings confirmed, just broke a new record from Collider. Collider's one of the worst media outlets out there. They did an interview with Russell T Davies, and they just virtue signaled the whole way. There's our Cosmic Book News episode. They're actually a good news site. And then you go through here. What do you think of that? I mean, so spoiler-filled review. Best episode so far doesn't include the Doctor. That's it. That's the story, right? Doctor Who's overnight ratings are not the full story. That's a week ago, so it's before this. So they tried to lie about that. But so far, it looks like the media is pretty happy with the ratings coming back for Doctor Who, I guess that's a good thing in some ways. But the bad thing for them is, again, the Doctor's not in it, and so that's what got this episode going. That's what people reacted to and said, you know what, I'll watch this one. I'll tune back in and see if it's going to get a little bit better. And sure enough, it did. It was a little bit better. It was a pointless episode, but that is the story that's going on with Doctor Who right now. I'm sure they're going to declare victory, going to say that they're winning, that the bigots are losing, the chuds are out there, and they're not going to be able to dunk on Doctor Who anymore. But I guarantee you, as soon as it gets back into the Russell T Davies wheelhouse again, and gets these problems, that next week's episodes are going to be dropping again. It'll be a lower rated episode once more. This was a one-off. It was kind of a fluke, and I really think that people, even though you kind of sat there and were entertained by the episode, and the horror elements were pretty good throughout the first 30-40 minutes, when they really didn't deliver the answers in the episode, and when they really didn't stick the landing, I think that's going to sour more people than it's going to bring in before Gatwa comes back with episode 5 here. Now, they're doing one other thing. They're trying to gin up their ratings another way. And the other thing that's happening now is they've announced that they're going to actually bring the final 2 episodes to theaters in the UK as a theater presentation. Now, this is something that they're doing, that they're trying to gin up interest for Doctor Who at the end of this season, try to get everybody excited about it by, we're going to do some theatrical representations. And they've done this in the past with some of their specials. But the problem they're going to face here, again, is they're going to have these theaters out there where there's a Doctor that nobody likes and nobody's interested in. Nobody wants to watch this guy. Just because it's in a theater doesn't actually mean that people are excited to see it. I'm going to make another video this morning just about how bad American theaters are doing with movies, and the reasoning why is very similar to what they're doing with Doctor Who. They're making everything just about their identity politics. They're casting based on that. They're not actually doing honor to franchises anymore, and it's just a destruction of all the things that people saw of the past that they liked. And there's nothing new. There's no content out there that is like, hey, this is innovative and cool. When Doctor Who was on the air with David Tennant, you'd get that every episode. People were like, oh wow, this is pretty cool, and this is new, fresh storytelling. It's not anymore. They're rehashing storylines. Even this, the horror element here was it's a rehash of some of the horror elements of Doctor Who that they've already done in the new Who already. It just kind of brought you back to that feeling. At least they did that for you. So I think the theater thing's going to fail, and that they're not going to be able to get people's butts in the seats. It's going to be an embarrassment for them, just like everything else has been since they relaunched the show to begin with. All right, leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Hit that like and subscribe button. Make sure to check out my books on Amazon, and we'll be back soon.